if some of you know the David Hawkins scale of consciousness, it's this really lovely, based on kinesiology and muscle testing, understanding of the different levels of consciousness. So we're moving out of fear fear and shame is right on the bottom. And often we don't realize it, but shame is very hidden within us. And we can feel very shameful about who we truly are, but we're not really conscious of it. And that shame is a block for us. And then we're going to do some divine healing, and we're going to go into some of our own programming. So it's going to be very personal and very individual, that one. But we'll do it as a group, and I'm sure all the things will be quite similar. So, what blocks our confidence and limits our expansion? It's either a program or it's a belief. And I've picked some of my favorite ones. And maybe you resonate with these. I'm not good enough. I'll never be as good as them. I'm too scared to try. What will people think? And I don't belong here. So this is unworthiness. I'm not good enough. Comparison. I'll never be as good as them. I'm too scared to try. Fear. What will people think? Fear of judgment, fear of ostracization. I can't say that word. Fear of abandonment, which is a core wound. I don't belong here. Unworthiness. So they can feel very, very strong. And these are very, very, very big ones, deeply rooted in a lot of us. And the consequences of these is our behavior. So I'm not good enough often leads to procrastination. What I call fear and freeze, like fear and freeze, and self-sabotage. And we have a chart in Divine Healing, which is all about overcoming self-sabotage. And it's amazing when I do it on myself and something comes up and I'm like, I don't do that. I don't sabotage my well-being or sabotage my growth, but I do. And the more I sit with it, the more I look at it, the more I recognize it. And often we beat ourselves up when we procrastinate. And that leads us into a spiral of shame. I should be doing more. I should be better. But procrastination is just to do with fear. That's all it is. And there is no shame around having fear. It's part of the human experience. But the more we recognize that fear, the more we can come out of procrastination. Because there are two things that fear hates. It hates awareness and it hates action. So the two things that we really use to defeat fear are sharing, bringing it up into the light of awareness out of the darkness of our minds, sharing it with someone. You know, it could be a stranger, it could be your best friend, your mum, being like, oh my God, I have this fear. One, you've tackled it. The second way to tackle it is to take a teeny tiny action against it. Might be making a list. It might be making a phone call. It might be writing something down. And you have started to climb the mountain of fear. And that's all it takes. I'll never be as good as them. So when we feel like this, we compare ourselves to others. And I'm sure you guys do this. I definitely do this. You look at other people and think, God, aren't they doing well? Aren't they so successful? I'll never be like that. And it can again spiral us into not remembering and recognizing our unique worth, our unique value, and our unique beauty. So it's pulling us away from that. And it's all about coming back to that, coming back to, well, I am just on my own unique path, and it's not, and it's never going to look like anyone else's. It's a really tough one to come out of comparison. And I write about it a lot on my blog because I suffer from it, hands up. And I think a lot of other people do as well. So I don't feel too bad about it. So another program of relief, I'm too scared to try. So we default give our power away to other people to do it instead of us. That is pure disempowerment. That is pure 9 energy in the soul contract. I can't do it, so I better give my power away for someone else to do it for me. So that's an obvious one there. And then what will people think? Oh my gosh. This is a really subtle one. As human beings, we're sort of genetically encoded to stick with the pack, stick with the herd. We don't want to be ostracized. We don't want to feel unsafe. We want to feel connected in a community. And when we do something that goes against the standards or the way of society or our family values, God families, oof, they can be very controlling. We have a lot of fear of judgment, and that can lead to a lot of overwhelm. I have to get it right. If I do it, I have to get it right. It has to be perfect. And if you've got a 10-1 in your soul contract, that is the perfectionism energy. Listen. So we give too much to something because we have to prove it to other people instead of just letting it be what it is. And then I don't belong here. This is a very deep one. And I cleared something around this the other day. This is like, I don't fit in. I've been abandoned here. I'm left here to suffer. And I want to hide from the world. And I want to isolate myself. And this is a very core wound in a lot of people. It's the abandonment wound, which we'll talk about in a minute.